Some children grow up with bedtime stories. Sarah grew up with silence. While other girls learned to braid hair with their mothers, Sarah learned to braid her own. While other daughters inherited recipes and lullabies, Sarah inherited only questions. Her mother left when she was 3 years old. Just vanished. Like smoke. Like she never existed at all. But here's what nobody tells you about absence: it has a shape. It has a weight. And Sarah carried that weight every single day of her life, until the day she discovered the truth. Sarah's childhood was a house of whispers. Her father never spoke about her mother. Not once. The few photographs that existed were locked away. When Sarah asked questions, rooms went quiet. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Some things are better left in the past, her grandmother would say, her lips pressed into a thin line. So Sarah learned to stop asking. She learned to smile when Mother's Day rolled around. She learned to pretend the empty chair at every milestone didn't hurt, but the questions never left her. Why did she leave me? What was so wrong with me that she couldn't stay? Didn't I deserve a mother's love? By 17, Sarah had built walls so high that even she couldn't see over them. She became independent to the point of isolation. She trusted no one. She needed no one. Because if her own mother could abandon her, anyone could. She dated men who left. Friends who drifted away. She created the very abandonment she feared, just to prove she'd been right all along. Sarah was drowning in a story she didn't even know was a lie. Everything changed on Sarah's 28th birthday. Her grandmother, now dying, called her to the hospital. With trembling hands, she gave Sarah an envelope. Yellowed with age. Sealed with wax. "I'm sorry," her grandmother whispered. "We thought we were protecting you." Inside was a letter. Written in handwriting Sarah had never seen but somehow recognized in her bones. "My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, you're old enough to understand. Old enough to know the truth I couldn't tell you myself." The words that followed shattered everything. Her mother hadn't left. She'd been driven away. Sarah's father had been violent. Brutal. A man who believed a woman was property. Her mother had endured 3 years of hell, told by everyone, by her own family, that marriage was sacred. That she'd made her bed. That real women suffer in silence. The beatings got worse after Sarah was born. One night, after her father put her mother in the hospital, her mother made a choice. She could stay and die. Or she could leave and let Sarah live without violence. But there was a catch. Sarah's father threatened that if her mother ever tried to contact Sarah, ever tried to come back, he would make them both disappear. Forever. "I didn't leave because I didn't love you," the letter read. "I left because I loved you more than my own life. I left so you could grow up without fear. Without blood on the walls. Without learning that a man's fist is what love feels like. I left so you could be free. Even if it meant I never could be." Sarah's hands shook. Her vision blurred. 25 years of anger. Of abandonment. Of self-hatred, all built on a lie. Sarah spent the next 6 months searching. She hired investigators. She followed paper trails. She discovered restraining orders her father had filed. Police reports that were never taken seriously. Women's shelters that had no space. A system that had failed her mother at every turn. She learned that her mother had tried. God, how she'd tried, but in the 1990s, domestic violence wasn't taken seriously. Women were told to go back home. To be better wives. To pray harder. Her mother had been erased. Not just from Sarah's life, but from existence itself, until Sarah found her, living under a different name. In a small town 3 states away. Working at a library. Still looking over her shoulder after all these years, Sarah stood outside that library for an hour, gathering courage, then she walked inside. Her mother was shelving books in the back. Older now. Gray hair. But the same eyes from the one photograph Sarah had managed to find. "Excuse me," Sarah said, her voice breaking. "I'm looking for a book about mothers and daughters." Her mother turned. Froze. She knew. Instantly, she knew. Sarah? A whisper. A prayer. A lifetime of grief in 2 syllables. They stood there, strangers who shared everything. I got your letter, Sarah said. I know why you left. I know what he did. I know. I know you saved me. Her mother's face crumpled. 25 years of guilt and grief poured out in a single sob. They embraced in the middle of that library, 2 women reclaiming what had been stolen from them. I thought about you every single day, her mother wept. Every birthday. Every milestone. I imagined who you'd become. I prayed you'd be strong. That you'd be free. That you'd never know the fear I knew. Sarah held her tighter. You didn't abandon me. You sacrificed yourself. And now I want you to know the woman I became. The woman you made possible. Sarah never knew her mother. But she became exactly who her mother hoped she'd be, not perfect. Not unmarked. But unbroken. She became an advocate for domestic violence survivors. She started a foundation in her mother's name. She speaks at schools and shelters, telling the story of 2 women who survived, because here's the truth that took 25 years to learn: sometimes love looks like staying. And sometimes love looks like leaving. Sometimes the greatest act of motherhood is letting go. Sometimes the strongest women are the ones who walked away. Sarah's mother gave her the greatest gift: a childhood without violence. A life without fear. The freedom to become whoever she wanted to be. That's not abandonment, that's love in its purest, most sacrificial form. This is the voice of Melody. And this is the story of the mother she never knew, and the woman she became because of her. Every 9 seconds, a woman is assaulted or beaten in the United States. If you or someone you know needs help, National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. Text START to 88788. You are not alone. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Subscribe to the Voice of Melody for more stories of survival, strength, and the women who refuse to be silenced.